Hello and welcome back to Star Citizen. My name is Evenlease, and today on 10 Minutes More or Less Ship Review, right behind me, the MISC Starlancer MAX. Let's go ahead and take a look. Alright, welcome back to another review, and thank you to the team that helped me today by manning the guns, flying the ship, and just being here and taking part. You all are truly amazing. Now, starting off with the MISC Starlancer MAX, this ship is a behemoth, but a true multi-role ship. If you've ever seen one, it can do a bit of everything. Now, this ship is $250 if you were to buy it on the Pledge Store, or $8,820,000 aUEC if you were to buy it in game. Honestly, either way you look at it, it's a fantastic price for what it can do. Now, I will say, the last time I took a look at this ship, there has been definitely some stat changes between then and now, so that's why I'm taking a fresh look with the Starlancer TAC right around the corner. So with that, the MAX is the freight hauling variant of the Starlancer series, and this ship in 4.1 has a 40-minute claim time with a 15-minute expedited time, which is pretty crazy. But in 4.1.1, which is just right around the corner with Invictus, your claim time gets a major buff, sitting at 12 minutes and 19 seconds, and if you expedite, at 3 minutes and 4 seconds, which is just fantastic, and I cannot wait to see that hit the game. Now, the pilot also has a ton of damage per second, sitting at 2,336, and that's due to the 4 size 4 M6A laser cannons at the control of the pilot, and then there's 2 remote turrets on the top of the ship, outputting 1,564 damage per second due to the 4 size 4 CF447 Rhinos. Now, the pilot also has control over 16 size 3 Thunderbolt 3 missiles. This thing is chock full of firepower, allowing you not only to deliver your cargo, but to defend every inch of it. When you're out there, if you have these guns manned, or if you have the blades installed when that becomes a thing, this ship will be pretty protected. But that's not to say there are some weak spots in that turret arc, because it only protects the top of your ship. So if they get beneath you, it's not going to be a fun time, as there's no guns on the bottom of the ship to keep you protected. So that is definitely something to remember when you're out there in the verse. If you start getting attacked and you're near a big body like a moon or a planet, it's best to hug the ground, because if you do, they are forced to be in front of you, behind you, or above you, and not underneath you, which might honestly save your life. Outside of that, this ship does have 1 size 3 shield generator, and it got a difference here between 4.1 and 4.1.1. It was a bubble shield, and it only had about 50 some odd thousand shield, but now in 4.1.1, which again, right around the corner, Invictus, it has 63,400 quadrant shield, which honestly, in my opinion, that's a pretty good change, because quadrant shield allows you to focus more strength on certain areas of where you're being attacked, instead of your entire shield just going down all at once. So that's honestly a fantastic thing, and I'm super excited that it's getting that buff. Now taking a look, this ship does have a total ship health pool of 84,200. So even if you do lose your shield, you have plenty of health points, even though a lot of it is spread to your massive engine nacelles and the wings that lead off of them. You have to be careful not to lose those engines, even though this thing has been proven to fly with only one, which is fantastic. Worst case, it'll at least take you to the crash site. So a fantastic ship to be in because it's got plenty of amenities on the interior, which we'll take a look at here in just a moment. Now this ship does have a top SCM speed of 135 with a 315 forward boost and a 140 backwards boost. That is another stat that has changed since I last looked at this, because before it was under 100 SCM and this thing was pitifully slow. But now it's really, it's picking up speed slowly but surely. It's getting there, and that's pretty good, even though that will probably be one of the areas, if not the only area, that gets a slight point hit from me. Now, you do have a nav speed of 990, again, not the highest amount, but that's okay. Now, looking at its pitch yaw roll, which allows you to move up, down, left, right, and roll this ship, you have a 31, 31, 65, or if you boost it, it is 37, 37, 78. Now, these numbers don't really mean too much until you start comparing it with other ships, but if you were to take a Freelancer or let's say a Hornet, and then literally press E on the keyboard and roll, that's your roll, and that's how fast you're able to do that. This ship is a whale. It is a seal, as some would call it, and she is big and floaty, so you're not going to be maneuvering too well, but when it all comes down to it, this ship is not meant to fly like a fighter, so there's no hit there from me. I think it's a fantastic ship. Speed, maneuverability, and firepower, all bringing it to the table. Now, you do have 100 flares and 60 decoys available to you as the pilot, allowing you to hopefully escape danger when that works. During my flight here today and the test while the review, none of them were loaded, which was very surprising and just too bad. Now, you do have 50 SCU of hydrogen fuel and 3.6 SCU of quantum fuel, allowing you to go quite the distance before you ever need to refuel, which is fantastic given the fact that you are a cargo hauling machine. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the interior and tell you just how much cargo this thing can hold. Starting here at the back of the ship, this is one of 3 entrances from the ground. This big old ramp here, and then if you move right past that, you can open up the cargo dropping door here, the cargo bay, from the control panel on the outside. This is also an area that you could potentially enter the ship at, as well as right here, the front of the ship, your elevator, which is I wouldn't say the quickest way, but is probably one of the quicker ways to get straight to the pilot's seat. Now, we'll go ahead and start right at the back of the ship here, going up the cargo ramp to tell you this ship can carry 224 SCU of cargo. Now, that is not all loaded here in the back. It is only loaded right here behind these striped lines in these mag plate areas right here and over here, and then the center area is saved for any sort of smaller ground vehicles like an ROC or a Cyclone, and that's pretty awesome, allowing you to transport a good amount of stuff. Now, this ship is amazing in its interior detail, giving life all over the place. It just was one of the better designed ships to recently come out, giving you a lot of cool, just interesting piping. You got windows, which is fantastic. And then, you have an elevator here that goes straight to the living quarters of the ship. There's one here as well as one over here. Sometimes these areas are a little bit buggy. Let's take a look if it is right now. When you enter here, it would typically say private area, but I believe that's been fixed, which is fantastic. Now, if you make your way through this main door here, this takes you to the cargo gantry here, or the walkway over where you would be loading your cargo, which on these pads here, even though I'm holding a medical gun, is where you're going to load the rest of your 224 SCU of cargo, which is honestly amazing. You could probably also put a ton of smaller bikes here and then load it up like a nice little shop with a bunch of Harleys in here, right? And then you just drive on, Razor, whatever type of a hovercraft or anything, motorcycles you might want. This ship can probably load it, which is just fantastic. I thought this was such a cool looking design. I love how you can walk over this here and have your cargo loaded, have a ground vehicle in the back. more cargo in the back, the beautiful looking lighting, ceiling, all the detail is just fantastic, and it makes me truly excited for the Starlancer TAC coming to us very soon. Now I'm going to go ahead and hit close there on that button, and as you can see, it'll come on up, and it'll be protected by an outer casing that closes around it, and then you can go ahead and walk along this paneling here, which is quite awesome. Now, if you make your way through this next area, you do have that main elevator that was on the ground in the front of the ship earlier, as well as to your left, you have an EVA access point where if you could dock to a station or another ship, this is where you'd be doing that from, which is pretty awesome. So all in all, this ship has about 4 access points, which is truly just not something you see a lot nowadays with these bigger ships, so gotta love it when you do. Now, you also have a ladder here if you need an emergency way to get up without taking an elevator that might take too long, or the elevator is not working at the time. You can definitely take this beautiful ladder to the top area where the command deck is, or you can take that ladder down. Now, here on the bottom floor, you do have an armory on this ship, allowing you to load up weapons, your armor, all sorts of different things, as well as sitting down to take care of that. You have your suit lockers, as well as your weapon locker right here. And when you deploy this, you do have the area for 4 rifles, as well as 6 handguns, which is not terrible, especially since it's a cargo hauling ship. But honestly, I wish there was more. I really do. Oop, I'm just pressing all sorts of buttons here. But yeah, it is pretty cool. This armory is another pretty looking area, but the positioning of it is quite interesting. Overall, it is still something that you can absolutely use. Now let's go ahead and get on the elevator and go to the upper deck, which is where you're going to have your pilot area, the bridge, your habitation areas, as well as your engineering deck. Let's go ahead and take a quick look and then go ahead and give you my score. Now, starting off to the right, this is the bridge. Well, honestly, it's the escape pods first. You got 4 of them here, and then past this door, you have the bridge where you're going to have your gunner seats for the remote turrets, one over here as well as one over here, which, by the way, you can control these blast doors by pressing the button there, which is truly awesome. When you're in the middle of a fight, you can go ahead and take care of protecting the window where your gunners sit, which is truly cool. Now, if you go ahead and move further in, you have some component areas like avionics, as well as your radar and relay areas over here. And then you have your pilot seat and your co-pilot seat. Now, really quick, I'm going to get into the pilot seat and show you what this view is, which is one of the most complained portions of this ship, just because it is a mail slot, but also because you have a football field between your buttons here and the front window. It is MISC in design and in nature, so that is something that I honestly don't really mind. Personally, I think it feels great. It feels very MISC, and I've had a great time so far with it. You do have 2 MFDs, your radar set forward, and if you compare it to my first review, this whole HUD has changed. So definitely take a look at that if you want to see how. Now, I'm going to go ahead and hop out of here, and we'll go ahead and take a look through the rest of the ship and give you my score again. I'm just going to say that 3 more times, aren't I? Now, I'm going to go ahead and run through the back here, run through this next area, and then, again, this is where that ladder is, as well as a little bit more components, life support and gravity generator, right through this window here, which is empty, so no breathing in this ship. And then if you make your way through this door, you have a nice area where you have set up for pool, as well as eating. And, you have little windows here at the top, which is pretty neat. I wish they were a little bit bigger, but it's still pretty cool. I like that they're there. And then this is just very lived in. Obviously, these guys are having a little bit too much fun. Probably should take the gun away from them, but I'll just leave them to it. And of course, you have a pool table here with no working pool. It'd be nice if we can get some of these smaller games working so we have something to do on some of these journeys, maybe someday here in the future. Now, once you make your way through a really cool looking living area, I mean, it really is, it's fantastic, you make your way into where the crew is going to live. To your right or to your left, you're going to see here that each one of these rooms are almost all replicated the same, but I'll show you how one of them or 2 of them are not. This is one of your first rooms here with a double bed. You got yourself a desk, a little fridge down here for some sodas and stuff, and you have a storage area that you can go ahead and go and access right there. And then if you open this door to the bathroom, you have a nice faucet sink, you have the headless horseman in a working mirror, somewhat working mirror, and then behind that you do have your shower, as well as multiple items that you can pick up and carry, which is pretty cool. Things are starting to get a little bit more, physicalized, which is pretty awesome. Soon we'll have toilet paper that actually unfolds and makes a mess everywhere. We'll see. Now, if we make our way through this door here, we'll go ahead and just check out the other areas. This is that elevator in the cargo room, so this is where it comes up to. And then if you walk around here, this is hab number 3. You can see the subtle change. There's a little bit more room here, and so they gave you some more storage areas to maybe put some knickknacks or just some armor or clothes or, your garbage when you don't want to throw it away because you might be a little too lazy given that day. But then you have a double bed, your desk, a fridge, of course, your storage area, and then through your bathroom here, you have, of course, the nice faucet, mirror, and your, shower areas. Now, that's the 2 designed rooms on this ship, but there are 4 of them, so you got those 2, and then you got hab 4 here, and as well as hab number 2 over here. So it's pretty cool. Hab 2 and 1 get kind of not as much fun, but hab 3 and 4 get all the extra stuff, right? So it just depends on who you like the most and who you're going to give these rooms. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the last area, which is your engineering room. You have these beautiful engines here, as well as a lot of your components. Most of them are stored back here, and this is where you're going to be taking care of this ship. You have your massive engines and your engineering terminal. This is just such a beautiful looking area. It's such a fantastic, well-made ship, and I couldn't get enough of it. Now, let's go ahead and take a quick look at some combat, just so you can see it can put up a fight. Speaking of which, let me just tell you a couple things this ship can do. You can do cargo hauling. You can do combat. You can do bounty hunting of some sort, right? So combat, right? And you can do bunker runs. You can do medical runs. I mean, you can do pretty much everything in this ship. You don't have a medical bed in this one, but the Starlancer TAC is going to bring a whole ball field of options in the game of, multitasking a ship. You can do cargo, deliveries. I mean, this ship just has all of the use cases. Even as a point A to B runner, it's a fantastic ship. Here's that combat footage and then my score. All right, as you can see, this ship can handle combat with no problem, especially if you have those guns manned. The amount of missiles you have, the forward-facing firepower from the pilot, and then having those guns manned, it's just such a phenomenal experience if you're taking this into a combat situation, or if the combat situation comes to you, you can definitely put up a fight. Now, with that, my score is 97 out of 100, with the only area that I can complain about is the speed. What do you think of the Starlancer MAX? Down in the comments below. Are you as excited for the Starlancer TAC as I am? Because I cannot wait to get my hands on the TAC and give it the full amount of attention and love that that ship deserves. Thank you for everybody Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being here. And thank you for watching. You all are truly amazing. And I hope you all are doing well. And have a good one. I'll see you all in the next video.